Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Coffee Rant with Dano and Frank, our Patriot Bald Eagle. Tonight we're going to be discussing different grocery prices that are going up and that are set to go up here in the fall of 2025. Now, a lot of these we've already seen, some canned goods, spices, different breads. Bread has really been an item, and that's something we're going to talk about. Bread's been an item that has been going way up in price lately, and we're expecting to see that go up even higher. You know, a lot of you guys have been talking about different shortages of spices, where we've seen that too in like Walmart. Salt has been an issue. A lot of you guys have commented about salt being low or out in some of the stores around the country. Something that we do need to pay attention to. And if you guys have, make sure you abbreviate your city and state so that we know where it is an issue. This was an issue a couple years ago with salt. Now, as far as the price increases at places like Walmart, I kind of had a feeling, and we hinted on this a while back, that when we saw the prices go up on spices and different salt and canned goods and stuff like this, we knew that this could be an issue in the future. And going back to breads for a second, we've noticed where we're finding less and less sales. Sometimes price increases on things doesn't necessarily mean that the regular price has gone up, as to where we could go a month or maybe forever with some products that we never see go up in price. And what happens if that product doesn't sell at that point? It disappears. It goes away. We've talked about this a lot in the past. Not as of recent, though, but it does look like we are seeing a lot of different products that are disappearing. Mainly like different flavored products, like a lot of different Cheerio brands and stuff like that. Things that are hard or maybe costly for these companies to get in, and then they realize that you're not going to buy much of it anyway, so they stick to their main brands like Cheerios, Honey Nut Cheerios. I think the multi-grain Cheerios does really well. Every now and then they'll come out with these different flavors, but it's like we'll see them at odd places, like Aldi. We see the pumpkin spice Cheerios, right? And it's like they may sell there. That could be a selling point for Aldi, but a lot of the different things that we see that have disappeared are usually products that are something that may be very familiar to you. One of the things that we've seen a lot over the last year or two have been some serious recalls. We just saw recalls on a lot of different shrimp, a lot of frozen. Somebody was talking about frozen fish. And there is to where it's past now. That frozen shrimp thing, the radioactive shrimp, seems to still be kind of festering in the news. So I wouldn't be jumping on the frozen shrimp bandwagon quite yet, because there continues to be issues with frozen shrimp and a lot of different frozen products. We've seen where like products are not even frozen, like the different products like Home Chef, different ready-to-eat meals, stuff like that. I know there's been a lot of you that have been talking about not getting any of these meals anymore. And I know some of our longtime viewers that have been buying Home Chef. That's why I mentioned that one. Home Chef and some other ones, for a long time, while you're not buying them anymore because of all the potential risk of it being recalled. We always talk about stocking up on certain items and different foods and stuff like that. Well, why would I stock up on an item that potentially has it potentially could get on recall? Now, I guess you could say the same thing about everything, but a lot of these meals are kind of usual suspects. I think we're going to see a lot of these disappear in the future. If you notice, a lot of these have gone up in price. Even from the last time that this all happened, we saw where a lot of these prepared meals and stuff really have gone up in price. We've seen where it's gone up in price at Sam's Club, Costco. The only one that I haven't seen go up in price at Sam's Club has been the chicken pot pie. Now, that could be because most of that, if not all, is made in-house, and maybe they're able to make that a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper to make that meal off of chicken that you're cooking for other products than it would be to order said chicken from some company that who knows where it came from or what's in it. And I know you can find all that stuff out, but a lot of you guys, most of this conversation is me kind of talking about what you guys have talked about and some of the things that I've been seeing in the stores. Now, there are some other things that we should probably talk about. Different crackers. We've noticed like a lot of crackers have gone up in price lately. I notice the little things. You know, we get a lot of comments on different items, maybe not necessarily the best for you or the healthiest, but we did notice where Oreo cookies went up to $5.29. That's a pretty big price hike from $4.99. That's 30 cents. That's just one thing. You know, we talk about ramen noodles. I know one of you guys mentioned ramen noodles the other day, how they have gone up like crazy at Kroger, and somebody else mentioned Dollar Tree. Now, we've gone over Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree was really the first to raise their prices on the ramen noodles, but they knew what was coming. They knew this was coming, and they knew that if they were going to be able to still sell the product, they were going to have to raise those 5-packs to $1.50. Right now, ramen has been an issue for a lot of people. I get emails and a lot of comments where ramen, you know, this has been your go-to for so many years. A lot of you, before you, please keep the comments PG-13. There's been, you know, a lot of F-bombs and stuff in the comments lately. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't cuss at all, right? Keep all the cussing. I know that it's frustrating and stuff, but we try to keep, you know, as family friendly as possible. So if you could just keep the cussing off the channel, I'd appreciate it. I don't have to take the comment down if YouTube happens to miss one of them. You know, then I have to go through it, and it takes a lot of my time out of the day that I could be doing, you know, some more videos for you guys. So anyway, just wanted to get that out there. But I get it. There's a lot of frustration. Okay, there's a lot of frustration. And before anybody comments on the ramen noodle, oh, it's still really cheap. Yes, it is. But we're not thinking of other things that people are buying up ramen noodles for, right? A lot of people donate. A lot of people buy these items because they're cheap and they want to help out a food pantry, or they want to help out their friends, or they want to help out a church, right? Give it to a church so that they can pass out to people. A lot of people who have been stocking up on these items, now that cost at paying so much more for ramen. I know you don't think about it, right? But from $3.68 to $3.99, that is a significant difference when you're buying up thousands of these, right? For a lot of different people. I know we don't think that way when we're buying for ourselves. Some of us do, and some, that might be the smart way to go. But, you know, when people are buying for their churches and families and friends and stuff like that, trying to make sure everybody has a meal, you know, yes, that can get very costly. There were a lot of people talking about that when we saw the canned goods go up at like Walmart and Aldi. Now, we have been seeing a couple rollback offers on some of the canned goods of great value for 50 cents. I don't believe that is the peas. Some of you guys have commented on the peas where they are not on that rollback offer. It's just the corn and select varieties of the green beans. I saw at Aldi where their corn was 50 cents a can. Now, if you're buying up for a food pantry or, you know, like I said, a church or a school or whatever you're doing it for, that's why I was saying this is the time to buy. I know I don't really explain that well in the videos that we do because I'm trying to get as much information out there as I possibly can. But this is an issue that when we see these sales, guys, if we're buying for other people, or if we're trying to provide for a church or local community or food pantry or something, then yes, this is the time to buy because this is an incredible price. They know this, right? They know that their significant amount of money is going to come from these people who are wanting to give to a church or to whoever needs it most, right? A lot of these are getting bought up for people donating, and that is where the issue is with these prices being so high on some of these canned goods. I know a lot of you comment, you know, that, oh, this isn't nothing. This is like a few pennies. Why are we worried about that? That is why. That is why. So I wanted to get that out there too, right? I don't, you know, me and Jess, as most of you know, we stock up on the sales as we see them. You know, we find deals at Sam's Club, we find deals at Kroger, we find deals at Meijer, even though it's getting harder and harder to do. Even Walmart and just everywhere, we always get the sales when we see them so that we don't run into this issue. You know, there's a lot of things that me and Jessica do off camera too that, you know, we don't really talk about. You know, if we want to make sure, you know, if it's something family related or if it's something that we're donating to or doing something like that, we may not discuss it on the channel here because we want to keep it private. You know, but we do make sure that we are prepared for the future in a world where that is just hard to do. You have to stock up on some of these sales when you see them because it makes it a lot cheaper in the future. Okay. So moving on to, I started talking, I think I started talking about bread. I don't know. I didn't script this or anything. I have nothing written down. So a lot of people have been complaining about bread prices, not just bread prices, but bread shortages. We went to Sam's Club yesterday, as most of you know who saw that video. They were out of butternut bread, and I'm seeing some shortages of butternut bread. Okay, now butternut bread is kind of localized out of Cincinnati, but it does spread out across a few states. Some of you may get butternut bread, some of you may not. Sunbeam was pretty full, but again, Sam's Club is one that's kind of hard to compare because we're trying to compare with like local supermarkets, even some major supermarkets. Every time I go to Kroger, I don't care what day it is, there is always some brand that is very low. And then you think to yourself, well, Dan, this is $5.29 a loaf. How can people afford that? They're not getting it in. That's what it is. They're not getting the said bread in. So you call that a shortage, or you can call that they're charging the least amount that they possibly can before they go out of business, right? We're seeing less and less sales on just about everything, bread being probably number one. And you would probably think that I would say coffee, but that's not the case because we're not seeing less and less sales. We're not seeing less and less people buying coffee, right? Coffee industry is forcing us to buy either cheaper coffees or coffee that is, on somewhat of a sale. But we're not seeing any shortages of coffee. We're not seeing any of those new Cafe Bustelos not on the shelves anymore, right? I've never said this, in the video, but with the coffee prices going up the way they are and how high Cafe Bustelo with all those added flavors and everything, I don't see that lasting. I don't see those. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of these coffee brands that have all these little extras, right? And you may like some of the extras. Now, I like pumpkin spice, but I don't buy it up. I have a couple cups of coffee spice and I'm done for the year. And I don't know if I speak for everybody here, but if you have like some kind of chocolate coffee or some weird wacky blueberry coffee or something, I recommend buying a couple extra. We'll say that right off the bat, but I don't expect some of these to last. I don't expect some of them to last, even through the season, right? Because I don't see them making enough money on that for them to warrant even having that even made. Make the regular stuff, keep it simple, and then charge cheaper prices because people are sick of it. People are sick of paying these ridiculously overpriced overpriced coffee. People are tired of paying it. Right? I mean, it's ridiculous. It is way out there. And I know some people are going to say, like, oh, well, this is the reason, this is the reason. I don't care what the reason is. It's too expensive. It's too expensive. And unless you get it on some incredible sale, I mean, you do you. You do you. I'm not buying it. I'm not paying crazy exuberant prices for coffee that I paid $8 less for, a month ago, unless I get it for $8 less. Right? Somebody was asking the prices of Starbucks coffee at Sam's Club. Most of the bagged coffee, at least for the Pike Place and the French Roast, I did notice they are $20.98 now. And then somebody else asked, well, why is Starbucks not going way up in price? Because nobody's going to buy it. They know this. They make so much that they can afford to keep it at that price, and that's it. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not affecting them at all. Right? If it's not affecting... Now, Dunkin', different story. We've seen where Dunkin' is making a desperate attempt. Right? They've already lowered the size, right, at Sam's Club from 45 ounces to 40 ounces, and now they're charging almost, $26? I mean, it was $19.72 for 45 ounces of it just at the beginning of summer. Maybe a little after that. But, these are the things and these are the reasons why we always talk about stocking up on the sales. But the sales are what are far and few between. We always talk about Walmart, how Walmart is the cheapest regular price, and it is most of the time. But when you're looking at it from a sales perspective, they're not having the kind of deals that you're going to find at a lot of other supermarkets. They're not having the $7.99 or $8.99 Folgers, right? You're going to pay $19 for 43.5 ounces, which at Sam's Club is absolutely absurd. But it is what it is, and they're not going to stop selling Folgers because they know that they're not going to stop carrying Folgers because they know that's a hot seller. And people are still paying the prices for it. That's why it's not coming down. I remember back in 2008, and I've mentioned this a couple times on the channel, but I remember back in 2008, I was pretty young then, but I remember, going into Walmart and not being able to find a bicycle. Gas prices got so bad that people were like, forget it. I'm just going to ride the bike. I'm going to get a bike. And that carried on. And then eventually gas prices went back down under $2 when they were well over $4. Guys, I feel we are here at the grocery stores. I feel like we are at the point where it's like, okay, with all of this other stuff going on, like shrimp, we're not buying shrimp. And that's not even, because some of you have said shrimp prices have gotten really high lately. I haven't even been checking on it because with all the different recalls that have been going on with frozen shrimp, I'm waiting until that is all long past. I don't even want to look at it, but that's just me. That's just me. Some of you said that boar's head has gone up. After the last incident with boar's head, I could care less. I'm not buying it. If some of you guys are, that's cool. With all the issues that Tyson Chicken has had, you guys, I know every now and then I'll get a viewer that says, how come you never cover Tyson Chicken? They have a buy two, get two free at Kroger. I have lost a lot of hope in some of these companies. Tyson has messed up so much. They have had so many recalls. They have had so many problems. They have had so many bad things that I will not even talk about on this channel. Most of you already know what they are. You could Google problems with Tyson and you will see an enormous amount of information that just really sends Tyson down the abyss of darkness. I do not like them. Now, I understand that some people do, and there's probably no problems. I kind of had this issue with Jif Peanut Butter. If you guys remember, if you've been on the channel for a long time, I remember when Jif Peanut Butter had that massive recall that spanned out over a year, almost a year. It was like 10 months. And then this went on for 10 months. You never said anything. And there were issues, right? This was the first time that I actually mentioned on the channel that I think are laboratories that are doing these food tastings, testings, and stuff, that this all needs to be changed. That was 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And here we are with more recalls than ever that I've seen in my lifetime anyway, or that I've dealt with, at least on the channel. I mean, it seems like every other day or every other week. I mean, and why is it that, I watch the news. I've been watching everything going on. And I know, and I don't know much about it because I have been really busy, but I know there was a frozen spinach recall. You can Google that if you wish. We're not buying any frozen spinach. We usually don't, ever. But there was a frozen spinach recall. But again, I don't know much about it. I've been really busy. I haven't been able to do any coffee rants, but I just wanted to talk about some of the things going on with some of the grocery prices, because this is an issue. And we do need to keep up on different recalls. And I highly encourage everybody to make sure that you're checking on these things virtually before you go shopping. Right? I mean, every time we go shopping, I always take a quick look to see if what we are buying is not on a recall, because it's gotten that bad. It's gotten that bad. So more price increases that we have been seeing. Flour. Flour has been a big one. And flour has also been one that I've seen myself in short supply. Now, we saw some crazy price increases at Kroger on flour. Now, the last I checked at Walmart, the 5-pound bag was still $2.38. They had a small 2-pounder. I think it was $1.36 or $1.38. $1.36, I think. The one that used to be $1.16. Anyway, Kroger, their 5-pound bags of all-purpose flour have gone from $2.69 just a few weeks ago, and then last week it went up to $3.29. That's 60 cents on a store brand flour, and in a lot of the 10-pound bags, we haven't been able to find them. That can mean one of two things. One, they're struggling to get it in, which is probably the most likely scenario, okay? Or two, they're not making enough money off of their own flour, and they're just going to do away with the 10-pound bags and sell the more expensive 5-pound bags. That was kind of the thought that I had go through my head, right? It's like, oh, you don't have many 10-pound bags here, and those were $4.99 for the 10-pound bag. The smaller 5-pound bags now $3.29. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not. I like to think it's number one, right? That they just have to raise these prices in order to warrant still selling it. But if it's too much, I mean, when you have Gold Medal on sale for $3.49, and then you have Kroger that is $3.29, which one are you going to buy? I don't know. I've been using Gold Medal my whole life, so I would obviously use Gold Medal, but, you know, I get 12 pounds of it for $6.72 at Sam's Club. And that's been on sale forever. A lot of these, I'll tell you. Walmart, okay, and Walmart and Sam's Club, kind of the same thing, you know, sort of. They know these things because we always see the prices go up or different prices come down at Walmart or Sam's Club first. We always see them happen at Sam's Club or Walmart first. And then we see the other companies follow maybe a month later. Now, I don't know if that's just because Walmart is ordering so much and they're just so far ahead of the game that they have to change that, you know. But I remember, like, anytime we see sugar or any kind of baking good go up in price, what is the first store you notice where it goes up in price? Walmart. Now, it'll sit there at times where other store brands will skyrocket in price. Now look at even at the... I know I'm comparing, you know, two completely different companies here, but, you know, when you look at sugar prices, okay, we saw where Walmart was one of the highest at $3. When it went up in price, it went to $3.46. Now it's on a rollback offer for $3.07. Okay, $3.07. Who knows how long that'll last, but if you're going shopping at Walmart, you might want to pick up another thing of sugar because this might be one of the other things that is going to be hard to find in the future. This was an issue a couple years ago where a lot of states were low on sugar. I mean, we never noticed much of it here. We did notice where some random places like Target, Meijer was an issue. Kroger was an issue for like a week, and then we saw them load up with sugar. But there were a lot of our viewers on the channel. I remember one of our longtime viewers from Arizona. A lot of it was out west. We had a couple from California. I think one of you shopped at Ralph's, I think. Ralph's? Or maybe it was King Soopers. Either way, we noticed where there were some shortages of sugar out west. You know, and some other places. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. And then there's been flour, spices, that there were pasta issues all around the country. I haven't noticed any of that. I have noticed Kroger pasta being a little low, which is a little strange because we've seen sales on some other ones like Cremette and Barilla, and it's like Kroger being low like that. I don't know. Maybe they're having trouble getting it in again. They did a few years ago. Remember when I went to Kroger? There was like none. So I don't know if that issue is kind of turning around again and showing its ugly face. But it is something we have to watch out for. And I will say, I can't remember if I even said this in this video or not, but I have been seeing a lot of inconvenience stickers at Kroger lately on a lot of items that we don't normally go over. Kind of another reason why I'm like, are they getting priced out? I'm going to go ahead and spoil what I did for tomorrow. I went to Dollar Tree today. There were some pretty interesting things that you guys have been leaving in the comments. I don't really go over too much of what people were talking about in the video tomorrow, but I do go over some interesting things at Dollar Tree that we need to pay attention to. I know we have thousands of viewers that shop at Dollar Tree on this channel here, and there are some big changes coming to Dollar Tree, and there's some issues that are very, very frustrating. And I saw some of those issues firsthand today, and I gotta say, places like Dollar Tree, they may be on their way out. With some of the stuff going on, They're making the same mistakes that a lot of other companies have made over the years, and I think they're getting priced out on a lot of stuff. Once they start raising all those canned goods and foods and stuff that maybe aren't even worth $1 when you compare sizes with other major supermarkets and stuff, they're out. They're done. They're not going to be able to survive on party supplies and balloons and stuff like that. You know, it's just not. You keep raising those prices. People are all have had it. People have had. I didn't realize the big impact. Well, I did. I did realize it, but I didn't expect it to happen so quickly. But there's a lot of frustration around Dollar Tree, and you know, if you shop at Dollar Tree, I would recommend stocking up on a lot of the things that are still $1.25, because I think most items are going to be going up here very quickly. And I think a lot of other things are going to be going up in this, you know, in the stores as well. I see trends. We all see trends. When I'm going around and I'm talking about different things and I show things, a lot of you guys notice things that sometimes I don't, or maybe I do and I just don't want to talk about in the video because it's not, you know, it doesn't flow well. But that's what a coffee rant's for. This is the time where we can talk about these things and it not interrupt what because I'm mostly just trying to point out the sales when we're at the store, because I want you guys to see some of the things that you guys have asked about and be able to see what kind of deal it is this week. A lot of people shop on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis. If you can afford to shop on a month-to-month basis, then good for you. You're probably doing just like how we do and stocking up on the sales every time you see them, because that is really the only way where you're going to really save in the future, is when you can shop like that. When you can say, I don't need these 20 items this week. It's not imperative. Of course, every now and then you're going to have something that you're going to need. You're just going to have to pay the price for it. But if you use the thought basis that you can afford to not buy those few products until either they go on sale or just never buy them again, right? I mean, I know it sucks to hear that. It does, but the thing is that never pay $17 for a thing of Folgers. I'll never pay $18.99 a pound for a ribeye. I just won't buy it. I'll quit. If that's what it comes down to, then I'll quit drinking coffee. I said it. $17 for that. I'm sorry, that is insane. $18.99 for 22 ounces of Cafe Bustelo. Get rid of it. I feel like when they're selling it for that, I feel like it's probably on its way out the door. Or it's just they can afford to do it. They can afford to mark it up to that, and it's just flat out greed. Either way, I don't want the business. I don't want your business, because either way, I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay $18.99 for that small amount of coffee. I don't care what it is. And at the same time, if your greed is causing this, which I can't imagine that would be, you know, I feel like it's a little bit of both. I don't feel like it's one heavily on the other, because they have to know that this is going to hurt their business. They have to. That's why they came up with all the other different bagged coffee. I wonder how much coffee is actually out of those new bags. If anybody has tried some of the different Cafe Bustelo coffees, let me know. They got the light roast and the dark roast. Got an eagle out here. I got Frank out here singing. I don't know if you can hear him through the microphone. Have to have the window open because it's pretty hot in here otherwise. Also, got the Green Mountain coffee, the breakfast blend I'm drinking tonight. Wanted something light. Got this one back when it was on sale. Buy one, get one free. Got it for, I think it was the K-Cups. It was $4.50. But these are the kind of sales that I'm talking about. It's like, I'm not going to pay $9.99 for 10 cups of Green Mountain. That will never happen. All right, guys, just wanted to go over some of the different price increases that we've seen. You know, obviously, you know, crackers and stuff. I think I started to go into that. There he goes. That's Frank out there hunting down the good prices for you guys. And he is like right out my window. That is hilarious. Anyway, that's kind of ironic. Excuse me. Continue to keep you guys updated on everything. I know I haven't done as many coffee talks, coffee rants lately. been really busy. Been really busy off camera. And, you know, sometimes I've needed a little bit of a break. You know, it's like, I know when you guys watch the videos in the morning, you know, I know it's 25 to 30 minutes. There's a lot that goes into those videos. There really is. And I've been trying to focus more on making those videos a little better and kind of not taking a step back from the coffee rants, just kind of, you know, just having a little more room to breathe and, you know, wanting to make sure that we get the most important information out there. And that's what we're going to save money on in the future. I feel silly even saying that these days because, guys, I'll tell you what, they continue to go up. Prices continue to go up on just about everything. And, you know, we get a lot of heartfelt stories from you guys. And you guys are the ones that motivate me to go out and do this each and every day. Me and Jessica, you know, talk about this a lot. We talked about it earlier today or yesterday. And, you know, it's just, we hope that we continue to do a good thing on this channel and to help, you know, and to also provide some entertainment. We try to make some jokes and make it funny, and, you know, because we gotta keep a balance. I can't just, most of you guys who know me know that I can't just keep, you know, all the anger, right? I'm not an angry person. I'm a positive person, you know, and it's like, I hate to deliver bad news all the time. I understand that we need to hear it. We need to talk about it, right? But it is hard for me. It's hard for me to get this out. It's another reason why I don't really script things, why I don't write out what I'm going to talk about, because I don't really know what I'm going to talk about. Sometimes the mood can change and we talk about, you know, different things. Maybe the next coffee rant, we talk about some good things. Give us some good stories. Give us some good grocery stories that you guys have had, you know, maybe over the last week or so. I know there's probably far and few between, but, you know, wherever those sales are, I always try to keep an eye out for them while having fun, delivering whatever information I can, you know, to try and make sure we have a better tomorrow. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.